The Haitian ambassador is appealing to Haitians to come forward and identify their loved ones who perished in that Abaco boating tragedy. Ambassador Rodrigue is also warning his countrymen against taking those risky, often fatal voyages like the one which ended in at least 11 deaths off Abaco. We get more from Shanique Miller.
Not knowing who the victims are has tied the hands of embassy officials who've been trying to bring closure to the 11 families. It's a risky voyage, but more and more Haitians are willing to risk it all in order to get to a land promising more opportunities.
But for us Haitians, it's very dramatic things. We always think people leaving Haiti for a better life abroad, they risk their life. And when that happens in a tragedy, it's hard not only for the image of the country, but also in terms of humanitarian aspect.
Some 2 weeks ago, 11 Haitians lost their lives on the high seas of Abaco. Haitian ambassador to the Bahamas, Antonio Rodrigue, says what's even more vexing is that people are paying between $3,000 and $5,000 to make the trip, paying little attention to the condition of the vessel being used.
Terrible is the lack of preparation of those who are organizing them, because how can a boat carrying 28 people then not have at least one life vest, even for the kids?
The challenge for the Haitian embassy is identifying 7 of the 11 people now at the morgue. Ambassador Rodrigue says the problem is having Haitian families come in and identify their loved ones for fear of being arrested.
That happened in Abaco. There are many people who have been arrested. And there's a situation where the family members has to go into hiding because of that.
Rodrigue says Wednesday is the deadline for family members to come forward and identify their loved ones. He even promised to have an embassy official accompany the family to the morgue. The Haitian government has already started preparations for all 11 funerals. The embassy is also preparing to pick up the tab to bury the 5 women and 6 children who lost their lives on that ill-fated voyage to Florida.
We're going to have a service, where we're going to take in all 11 bodies, a religious service and then a burial of them, but not all of them together. No, each of them going to have the casket and the plot.
The funeral services are set for this Saturday. Meantime, the search continues for the man law enforcement officials feel was the mastermind of the ill-fated trip. Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
The Free National Movement is criticizing the government over what the party claims to be failed promises. Party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, in a statement issued late last night, said the Progressive Liberal Party is at the midpoint in its 100 days in office, and the PLP still hasn't appointed board members for 3 corporations. The statement highlighted the agencies BEC, ZNS, and the Water and Sewage Corporation. Dr. Minnis says while MP Leslie Miller has been named to head BEC as chairman, Prime Minister Christie needs to speak clearly and decisively on this matter. The F&M leader is also hitting out at the government on the appointment of a national health insurance plan and on its urban renewal program. Regarding the national health insurance plan, Dr. Minnis said the PLP is providing excuses on the unemployment levels, which he feels have not changed since the general elections. While he says the PLP has promised to cut the unemployment figures in the country, Dr. Minnis charged that the PLP has done the opposite by discounting the employment of 80 people from the urban renewal program. Mr. Minnis said these people are the Bahamians who the PLP promised to invest in. Now, the Progressive Liberal Party is responding to those comments from the F&M. In reference to urban renewal, the PLP says it's the legal right and responsibility of the government to review all available manpower resources and allocate the same as is needed to ensure the success of its policy objective. Regarding the appointment of boards, the PLP says the F&M was late in its last appointments in 2007. The statement maintains that Prime Minister Christie was clear when he said that the existing boards expire at the end of June 2012 and the new boards will be in place by July 1st, 2012. The PLP says that decision stands. The PLP adds it's committed to fixing many of the problems facing this country, which the F&M has failed on. Teachers are sharpening their skills in the tourism industry. Over 100 of them are participating in an intern program sponsored by the Ministries of Education and Tourism. The educators are learning more about how they can better prepare young people for opportunities in the #1 industry. Speaking at today's opening was President of the Hotel Association, Stuart Bowe.
You are the shapers of our young minds, the talent scouts, if you will. You are one of the most important groups, and my personal group favorite that's crucial to the continued development of our nation, our people, and our nation's #1 industry. At BHA, our partnership with education is vitally important. We don't use the word partnership lightly. We know we are all in this together. Tourism is still #1 in our country and will be #1 at least for the next 20 years. And we know we're extremely vulnerable if we're not successful. To compete, we need excellence in service. As you know, we are a very expensive destination, which means that we must offer more value.
Welcome to tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Let's take a look at what's making business news today.
Over $500 million has already been spent on the Balmoral project in Cable Beach. The hotel's Senior Vice President of Government and External Affairs, Robert Sandy Sands.
Bahamas considers themselves good corporate citizens, sensitive to the environment, sensitive to the well-being of Bahamians. And we want to ensure that our progress going forward, we articulate our positions very clearly.
Maria Teresa Kemp and Natalie Appleyard paid a courtesy call on the U.S. Embassy's acting chargé d'affaires, John Armstrong, to share highlights from their participation in the Caribbean Women's Entrepreneurship Forum held in Washington, D.C., and was sponsored by the U.S. Department of State's Office of Global Women's Issues. In recognition of the important role entrepreneurship plays in empowering women and fueling stronger economies, the conference brought together women from around the Caribbean to share strategies for expanding their businesses at the small or medium-sized enterprise level. And a regional business, Trinidad and Tobago moved swiftly to head off a trade dispute between the Caribbean community's trading partner Barbados, apologizing for the actions of its food safety agency and blocking the entry of Barbadian milk and juices into the Twin Island Republic, and saying it was working to resolve the issue. Remember, you can send us an email or join us on www.znsbahamas.com or become our friend on ZNS's official Facebook page.
And that will end tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Thanks so much for watching.